So, I was a bit of a precocious child. I could read, maybe not an entire book, but a little, before I even went into kindergarten. How young was I when I started to read?
You were reading full sentences and short paragraphs by the time you were 4.
Really?
Yeah. You went into kindergarten reading stories.
But I didn't think of myself as a reader. That is, someone who read for themselves and not for others. But I was always someone who was literate in stories. Both my dad and my sibling, whom I also interviewed for this narrative, agree on this.
First question. Did I seem like someone who liked reading when I was a little kid, like elementary school age?
I don't remember when you really started, devouring books, but you always liked, you always liked stories.
Literacy, for me, started with visual storytelling long before it started with books. My dad is a comic book artist, you see, so I always had experience with visual mediums. While my classmates were just catching up to a level of capability I had reached years ago, I was becoming fluent in the language of storyboards and character arcs. It simply didn't occur to me that I could find the same enjoyment in literature until I was 11 to 12 years old. The shift started when I was 12. Ironically, I got grounded, and so I had to read. In that time, without a phone or tablet or TV, the vibrant animated worlds I usually escaped into were replaced by the printed page.
Do you remember, any books that I read when I was super little that I liked?
The entirety of Harry Potter.
What do you think compelled me to start reading the most?
Mom would listen to audiobooks, and and Dad was a reader. Or at least words and storytelling was always around the house, so probably just that. I'd say it was what compelled, I guess. Because it's our whole house was filled with books and storytelling.
People had been telling me to read Harry Potter for years, but I never had. I dismissed it because I didn't think it could be as fun as other mediums. As embarrassed as I may be to admit it now, though, when I finally read it for the first time, it opened me up to an entire new world. Young adult fiction. Just advanced enough that I could be entertained by it, but juvenile enough that I could get through it. And once I had read all of the Harry Potter books, I wanted to read another series I'd heard a lot of hubbub about.
What do you think the first book that I read that I got, really, really insanely into was?
Mainly into Warrior Cats.
Warrior Cats captured my interest hard. It had fun plot lines while still being accessible to young readers. No more of that clunky prose that had always driven me away from the classics. It was also, in all honesty, very violent, which definitely influenced my enjoyment of it, made reading feel like rebellion and not an assignment. But it wasn't just the books themselves that pulled me in. If what happened next didn't occur, I probably would have put the books down and forgotten about them the moment I got my tablet back.
Why do you think it was Warrior Cats that grabbed my attention so much?
The story was compelling while being, easy for a little kid to understand.
Do you think the prevalence of, online fan content fueled my Warrior Cats obsession? Yes, we're talking about this. It's undeniable, so...
Yeah. So, probably. It's more fun to read something when there's a community that you can discuss and see things about it as well. And especially when you were really young. Warrior Cats, I think it might still, I don't know how prevalent it is, if it's died down a little bit, but the fan animation community, especially when you were younger and probably just getting into the series, absolutely blossoming. And I'm sure that drove the interest of reading more because then you could interact more closely with the rest of the community.
People were online, drawing fan art, writing fan fiction, making entire animations. I was no stranger to fandom, of course I wasn't, my sibling was in many of the same spaces as me, but it had never clicked that this fan content, this community, could exist for a book series. I had to see more, I had to know more, I had to read more of these books so I could understand these animations I was seeing. For the first time, I wasn't just consuming stories alone. I was part of something. This really realization bridged the gap between my love for visual storytelling and the written world, fueling an obsession that lasted all through my teenage years, and led me to devour series like Warrior Cats, Percy Jackson, Maximum Ride, and Harry Potter, and even manga like My Hero Academia and The Promised Neverland. After spending so much time analyzing and consuming stories, creating my own felt like the next step. It was a way to take control of the narratives I loved. I wanted everyone to find as much enjoyment in reading as I had found, to realize that reading could actually be fun. It wasn't very good in retrospect, just silly fanfiction I wrote in class, but it was really my first experience with sustained creative writing. It was the first time I realized that I didn't have to just be a consumer of these vibrant universes. I could be a contributor to them. Even now, you can still see the traces of those early influences in my work today. As an adult now, I'm a writer of my own right. This whole semester, I've been working on a draft for my own novel, titled Muses of Mayhem. I even signed up for a YA Lit class to become more familiar with the genre I'm writing for, and I aim to replicate the magic that hit middle school-aged me. My journey isn't about one singular turning point. It was a mix of family, timing, and community. Becoming literate is not just about learning to read, but also about learning to see reading as meaningful and enjoyable. And I found that enjoyment through community and personal interest. Without that, I may have never become a reader, or by extension, a writer.